My name is Christina Lopez Robin. I will be the moderator for this session, and I think it's time to get started. So I want to introduce Lisa Wakefield very quickly. She will be the speaker for this session today, and the session is titled, Yes, You Can Teach About Emotions. So if you were looking for the session, you are in the right place. Okay, so Lisa Wakefield has her master's in TESOL from Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, Arizona. She has taught ESL for 31 years in the Glendale Union High School district. Okay, and I think she can tell you a little bit more about herself. And I think I would like to point out, before I turn it over, I would like to point out that if you would like to join us with audio and video, you can click that blue button in the corner right there, and then you will be able to join with audio and video. It says share audio and video. It might take a moment, so just be patient, and then I will let you into the session since I'm the moderator, and you can join us here like some brave souls have. I see Fernando. Thank you so much for joining us. And Liliana, great. I see that you have muted yourselves. That's a really nice and courteous thing for you to do. I just want to also give a disclaimer that I will mute you if I hear background noise while Lisa is talking. So this is just a matter of protocol. I'm not trying to be rude or anything. So I do encourage you, though, to jump on here if you would like to. And one more note about the session chat section. So there are two chats. There is the event chat, and then there is the session chat. Okay, so make sure you are clicking into the right one, because we want to be participating back and forth. We want you to ask questions and make comments. But if you are in the event chat, we won't be able to see it. So please make sure you are in the session chat. And I think it's time to turn it over. So Lisa, take it away.
Thank you. Hopefully she won't mute me. You know, that wouldn't be good, would it?
No, I don't think that's necessary.
Okay. All right. Well, this is my first year not actually being in a classroom with students, except for the year I was in Lima, Peru as a fellow. And part of the reason I'm doing that is, one, to spend some time with my new grandchildren. I have twin granddaughters that are 2 years old. And also to do some more international work, because I really love doing international teacher training. So I'm just going to share a slide with you. Hello, everybody in the chat, if I didn't greet you earlier. So I had the opportunity in August to travel to Uzbekistan, which, if you're not familiar with that country, it borders Afghanistan in the Central Asia region. And I worked with teachers. So here's my class of beautiful teachers. And we did a 3-week intensive teacher training, working on building their English skills, their general English, their classroom English, and their confidence, as well as doing a lot of professional development, and give them some tools that they could take back and use in their classroom when they started school in September, because they're starting a brand new school year. So just a little bit of fun information of kind of what I've been doing lately. We have a poll question for you, so I would like you to respond. Do you currently teach? And in the tab, it says chat and polls. So go ahead and go to the poll. I think Christina has that ready for us. Do you teach SEL in your classes right now? I'm curious to know. Christina, can they see the poll? Christina, did the poll get inserted? Do you know? You know what? If it's not there, let's just go ahead and say yes or no in the chat. Just go ahead and give me a yes or no. Are you currently teaching any type of social emotional learning in your classrooms now? Just a yes or no in the chat. Thank you, Liliana. Thank you, Fernando. And there's no wrong answer. Okay. Thank you, Luz. Not yet. I love that answer because that tells me that maybe you're thinking you want to implement some of it. So that's great. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. If I can get my computer here to move. In the chat today, tell us how you're feeling. And here's a few emojis that you can pick from. How are you feeling today? Denise, I bet you are. This has been a great success once again. Juan too. And you can also type the word if you don't want to put the emoji. I love it, Luz. Cool. That's a great one. Fernando. Yeah, Fernando, this makes my day to see you in my class again. Excited. That's a great one. Happy. Nobody is tired? Enrique. Hi, Enrique. I thought maybe someone might be just a little bit tired after how many days on the computer taking classes? Nope. Oh, you guys, that's what I love about teachers in South America, because you know what? You're just thirst for knowledge and you're always ready to learn. And I just love that about you guys. So I'm glad you're feeling good and no one's too tired from being online. So we're going to continue on with this presentation. So this presentation is really two parts. One is, if you're like me and didn't have a lot of background knowledge on social emotional learning, it is to give you as the teacher a little bit more knowledge on what social emotional learning is, which Mary did this morning. And then it's also meant for you to take this presentation and use it to fit your needs as a classroom teacher. So if you want to just pull parts of this out to work on little by little with your students, I think that would be perfect. So it will serve kind of as a framework or a template for you. Not all of it might be appropriate, but there might be pieces as we go through that I might suggest, hey, these would be really great to work on with your students. So it's sort of a two-part presentation. You have a copy. Please make sure you make your own copies of everything for your own personal use. All right.
And as a note, I did put the presentation handout at the top of the chat. So if you would like to click into there and follow along with Lisa, you can. And you can make any notes or make any copies of anything that you think you can use in your classroom.
Thank you. So here are some words, and there are handouts embedded or links embedded in the presentation, and I'll circle back to those at the end if I have time. If not, no, there's links. So this is a link for you to give to your students, and it's actually 2 columns where they can see the word in English, and then they can translate it to their native language to learn some new vocabulary. You could do this together if you're in Zoom or Meets or even in WhatsApp. You could attach this, but it's just a word list for your students. And just also in those handouts is a picture like this that you could give to your students, and they could work in groups. Like I said, if you're using Zoom or Meets, you could put them in chat rooms or have them work together in WhatsApp, and they could take that vocabulary and fill in the words that match the pictures. There might be more than one answer for each picture, and that's okay. So I just wanted to highlight some of the handouts. All right, SEL. Let's talk about it. SEL means social emotional learning. All right, and I think you know that, especially if you were in the keynote this morning. And as I said, we're going to go through and look at some pieces to this that will help you understand it more and help your students understand it more, and for you to be able to implement it in your classroom. That would be our goal. And again, there's a link down at the bottom. There's also some notes that you can give your students. Maybe if you're back in person next March, they could take some notes with this, especially if you have higher level students or you're at the university level, it would be really appropriate. So the importance of social emotional learning. As Mary said, it provides a safe foundation, and a positive learning environment. And it enables students, or it enhances students' ability to be successful in school and work and life. And that is one of the big takeaways or values of social emotional learning. I know for me, I teach students who come from all over the world. And it's really important that I create a classroom environment where students feel safe and it's positive so that they want to come to school every day. So that was always one of my big goals as a teacher. And I think my biggest compliment as a teacher was the following year when my students would come back and go, Miss, I missed your class. Can I come back to your class? I want to be in here. And I just, my little heart would be so happy because I knew they felt safe and I knew that it was a positive learning climate for them. And then I would look at them and go, no, 1 year is enough with you. Get out of here. No, just kidding. So that was really something fun. So that is one of the goals of social emotional learning. And I'm sure you all work to create a safe and positive learning environment for your students. Yes, Andrea? Okay. We'll do questions at the end if we can. Thank you. And so I wanted to just get your opinion and have a chat question out there because I want you guys to be involved in this and not just me talking. Do you think SEL is more important now than maybe it was like when I was in school or Fernando was in school many years ago? And why? And there's no right or wrong answer to this question. It's your opinion and your thoughts.
Okay, so Fernando says definitely.
And why? Why do you think, Fernando? Will you put that in the chat? Or if you even want to unmute and speak for a minute, we can take a 30-second since you're in the classroom. Why do you think it's more important now?
Well, there are many reasons, but I think 30 seconds is a little bit short. But definitely teachers.
So Denise says it's always been important, but especially important with difficult times. Denise, that's kind of where I'm at. I mean, I think it's always been important, but I don't remember, students in my school who were refugees or coming from war-torn countries or just having, issues with bullying through technology. So much has changed.
Yes, and Fernando, I think you were starting to speak, but then your mic got muted again. If you would like to add something very quickly, just a little 30-second response. Or if not, you can also type it in the chat. Just wanted to make sure I invited you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry.
Oh, it's so fun. It's fine.
Yeah, well, the teachers I've been working with needed a lot of emotional support because their students also needed a lot of emotional support. So now it has become a priority for everybody. And I think it's like really great that Lisa is, well, she knows teachers very well. She's a marvelous teacher, so she knows all of us. We all belong to the same species. So yes, definitely it's something that we need to be able to cope with, not only in our own situation as teachers, but also how we work
Thank
with
you.
it.
And I like that word that Fernando said, it's become a priority, which is, I think, kind of what Denise was also saying, that yes, it's always been important. I know I've always created a comfortable, warm, inviting classroom, but now there's pieces of it to add that are more important than maybe there were in the past. All right. Thank you for your participation. So we're going to get into social emotional learning now and what it is. And I have this short video. It's very short. I'm going to play just as an overview. And again, it's a video you could load into your WhatsApp or into a Google Classroom and let your students watch.
And Lisa, I'm not sure we can hear the sound very loud. Maybe.
Okay. I'm going to
Yeah.
escape on this.
Okay.
I
Or it could be just me. Could we
No,
comment in the chat? Could you hear it? Okay.
I think what happened is I had the tab pre-opened. I didn't open it from the screen. And because of that, it didn't allow me to click. So let me see if I can now click the piece that says, audio.
Okay.
No, it's not giving me that. All right, we're going to skip the video because for some reason I'm not getting the little box that allows me to just check. So know that there's a very short, like 1.5, 2-minute video here on social emotional learning, and you can use it with your students as you see fit, or you can watch it for yourself. All right, Christina, so they hear someone else besides me. I was going to see if you would read this slide.
Oh, of course. Let's see. Okay, so we have social emotional learning. And on the side here, it says a meta-analysis of 300,000 K-12 students in SEL programs showed that compared to controls, SEL participants demonstrated significantly improved social and emotional skills, attitudes, behavior, and academic performance that reflected an 11 percentile point gain in achievement. Okay.
Thank you. It's always good to have some research to back up what you're learning so that you know it's valid. And so I wanted to pull in this little piece of research that shows that when there were some studies done, there was an 11-point gain in student achievement. That's a pretty good gain just by working on social emotional learning in the classroom. And part of that is because with social emotional learning, students are learning to understand themselves. They're learning to manage their emotions, their behaviors. And when students understand their emotions and can control and manage themselves, they are going to be more confident in their learning, and they're going to be more committed to their learning. And as we said, now with this pandemic, there's a lot going on with students. So they need to know how to be self-aware and how to manage their stress and their emotions so that they can be productive. And, when students aren't having those outbursts in class and you as the teacher aren't having to deal with and manage all those behaviors, then students are more productive, they're able to learn more, and you're able to teach more. So that's also part of the reason that it shows growth. All right. So we're going to look at 5 competencies about social emotional learning. And I think of these kind of as the umbrella. So I'm going to start with the 5 competencies, and you've already seen a couple of them. And then we're going to go into 5 skills we want our students to have that fit under this umbrella or into these competencies so that they can be successful in your classroom as well as life and their future. So the first one is self-awareness. And you guys, if you were in the keynote, you know what this is. It's the ability to recognize your thoughts and that your feelings are connected to your actions. So in this one, we would be asking ourselves, what are our feelings and what's causing them? How can I express them respectfully? And I think the key part of that is respectfully and being aware of what's going on within you. And as Mary said, taking that time to take a deep breath and kind of refocus. That's part of that self-awareness, understanding what's going on with you and inside of you. The next one is self-management. And it's the ability to control your emotions and behaviors. And this is one I think that's really important for our students. I know it was important for mine. As I said, my students were refugees, a lot of them, immigrating into a new country and new culture, and they had seen a lot of things in their life that weren't pretty. And so, I had to be careful sometimes of what we read, noises and sounds, but the students also needed to be able to learn how to control their emotions and behaviors. So students might ask themselves, what's a different response I can have? I'm feeling a certain way. So how can I respond differently to keep my emotions in check or in control? And then the third one is that social awareness. And Mary talked a little bit about this too, the ability to empathize with those from different backgrounds. And what we want to teach our students here is to think about, how can I better understand other people's thoughts and feelings? I always used to tell my class, you know what? You're all the same. Even though you come from 8 different countries, we are all the same in here, because you've all had to leave your homes, leave your family, leave your friends, and start a new life. So I wanted them to have that empathy for each other and understand that although their backgrounds were different, they really were the same in many ways, and that they could appreciate each other more. The fourth one is relationship skills. And this is the ability to make, but not only make, but keep those healthy relationships. So we want to talk to our students and make sure they know, how can they adjust their actions to help their interactions with others, so that when they're interacting with others, they're maintaining those relationships and keeping them healthy. How can I communicate my expectations to others and do it in a respectful way? We know as adults that this is important. How many of you are married? We have to communicate with our spouses, our expectations, and maintain those relationships. And it's the same in the classroom. It's the same with co-teachers or fellow teachers. You know, a lot of you move rooms, and how do you keep those relationships going if the teacher's left the room a mess? How do you communicate respectfully? So those are life skills. And then there's the responsible decision making. And this is where we want students to say, what are the consequences? What happens when I make this decision? How does it not only affect me, but how does it also affect other people? All right. So these are 5 skills of social emotional learning. And you'll see up here, there's an Ed puzzle. I'm not going to click on it. We got a little bit of a late start, but you can show this to your students, or you can have them do it on their own. And it's, if you're familiar with Ed puzzle, there's little stops where students have to stop, think, and respond, so that they're actually engaged in the video and not just tuning it out. All right, so we're going to move on. Just a little quote. When students feel safe and supported, they are truly ready and able to learn. I'll leave that up there for a moment in case your Wi-Fi is a little bit slower. All right, now here's 5 strategies for you, meaning for your students. This presentation was designed so that I could teach it to a class of students. So as you're looking at this might be something you want to work on with your classes. As I was thinking through this for you all, I thought that maybe you could teach your students one of these a month. You know, it might be something you say, hey, this month we're going to work on mindfulness. And next month we're going to work on emotions. Because I know you have a curriculum. I know you need to teach English, but I think you can interweave some of this throughout your semester or throughout your school year and just build students' knowledge on this and work on it. So they are mindfulness, emotions, determination, empathy, and gratitude. So mindfulness. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time, because if you were in the keynote, you heard Mary talk a lot about this, but I do want to highlight there's an Ed puzzle for mindfulness. So in this one, I can pay attention to my breath, my body, my thoughts, my feelings, and the world around me. When I can observe these things, I can learn to have the freedom to choose how I respond. So we want to teach students that word mindfulness, and we want to teach them the definition of this. And this is a way to approach everyday life, whether it's school or work or home. And when students have this mindfulness, they can try and make things less stressful for themselves and not worry so much. It's talking about what's happening right now in the present and dealing with what's going on now and not really worrying about the future so much. It means to kind of be nice to yourself and give yourself some grace, and also to be nice and kind to others. All right? So that is mindfulness. And this goes with the self-awareness. The next ones are emotions. When I feel frustration or anger, I can try to understand the basis of my emotion and find a way to adjust my thinking in order to contribute to my own social emotional well-being. This was one I had to deal with a lot in class because sometimes my students came with a lot of emotions based on what they had seen in their life. Some of the stories my students told me just made me almost want to cry, thinking, I'm an adult and I haven't experienced that. And they're 13 years old. So some of those emotions they have, especially with the pandemic and COVID and everything going on in your countries, we need to let students understand that they can deal with their emotions and they can find ways to not lash out or have these outbursts. So teaching them about this, I think, is really important, especially if they're in a high stress or frustrating home life, or, have come from I think of like your refugees in Peru and other parts of South America who have come from Venezuela. Those are the kids that might really need this, learn to control their emotions and not be having those outbursts. The next one is determination. Students need to understand that, life goals, things we have in life take a lot of work and effort. I understand to accomplish great things takes enormous effort, patience, perseverance, and I can stretch my goals and accept praise for my accomplishments. Man, this is one thing I really fought hard with during the pandemic with my students, because some of them just wanted to quit school. It was so tempting to just go get a job and leave the education system. So we need to help students understand that it's not easy. It took a lot of hard work for you to get where you are. It took a lot of hard work for me to get where I was. And so I teach students that word grit. It's kind of a popular buzzword in the US. Christina, can you type the word grit? And grit just means you're not going to quit when it's hard. You're going to keep pressing on. So that's I think a really important one you can use in your classroom with your students, and share your personal stories with them. Share how hard it was for you, that it wasn't just easy. I think sometimes, like especially my students look at me and go, well, you grew up in America. It's been easy. So I have to share my stories that, my parents didn't pay for my education. I had to go to school. I had to work full time, and they had to understand those things. So share your stories, share your life. The next is empathy, which Mary talked about also. I can listen to others and I can make an effort to understand how they are feeling. We need to teach our students how to be empathetic towards each other. They all need this in the classroom. They need to be able to understand where each person is coming from. And not just them, they need to be able to understand it not only in the classroom, but at home. Their parents might be very stressed with what's going on with COVID and multi-generational homes and the fears and dangers. So to have empathy at school and at home and in their relationships. So empathy is another big one. I used to tell my students the story about how I went to Peru as a fellow. And I said, I can relate a little bit to how you're feeling coming to the United States. I said, I moved to Peru. My family didn't get to go with me. I was by myself. I didn't know the language. I didn't know the culture. And I shared with them my stories of having to learn Castellano, having to figure out the bus route to get to work, having to figure out how to talk to taxi drivers. and, some days just totally messing it up with the language, so that they knew that I could empathize with them and understand them. So again, share your stories. Let them know you've walked in their shoes. I think someone made that comment during the keynote, until we walk in their shoes. So anything you can share that, hey, I've been there, I understand, will help build that positive classroom climate and learning environment and make students feel safe. And the last one is gratitude. And again, these are 5 skills that you could use to teach your students over the school year, so they understand a little bit about social emotional learning and that they can practice these. So with gratitude, I can accept that gratitude is an important aspect of my well-being. I can believe that when I express gratitude, I have more energy, enthusiasm, and overall health. I tell you, one of my favorite things, and it was something so small, was when a student would walk out of my classroom and go, "Thank you, Mrs. Wakefield." It's like, I can make it through the day. Doesn't matter what happens. I'm just ready to go, because that one student took the time to thank me for teaching them. And it's so true. When we get that little bit of appreciation or gratitude, we feel good, and we need to teach our students that that's important too. So with that in mind, I don't want to be doing all the talking, because we know good teachers shouldn't be talking all the time. What are you grateful for? Please respond in the chat, or if you're actually in the room and want to unmute, tell me one thing you're grateful for today.
So you can also write what you're grateful for in the chat if you're not ready to share audio and video. I see Liliana commented, "My family and friends are healthy. I'm grateful for that." That's a big one. Yeah. Okay, Fernando says, "Spend time with great teachers." Yes, I'm so thankful for that too.
I'm so grateful for this conference and getting to meet my former colleagues in networking. I'm so grateful for that. This will maybe put a smile on your face. I'm grateful, if I can get it in the camera, for these 2 little gemelas that I get to spend more time with.
Oh, so sweet.
They're twins.
They're twins. Oh, that's so fun.
That's one thing I'm grateful for.
I love that.
All right, we'll take another maybe 15 seconds or so, 20 seconds for you guys to continue chatting.
Okay. Oh, good. They're coming in. I see all of these comments now. Melissa says, "I am grateful to be here and learn with other teachers." I love this. "I'm grateful for Relo Andes, Peru, and British Council Peru for not abandoning us."
Yoni, I think I know you.
Wow, that's a strong comment, and that's a great
Hi, Yoni.
thing
I
to
think
be
we've
thankful
met
for.
in face-to-face. Oh, thank you, Melissa. All right, you can keep chatting if you want. You can thanks, Joni. Still put things. Sorry, I'm tongue-tied. I'm so excited to be here with you. So keep putting stuff in there. I'm just going to change the slide. So I want you to reflect now. We know good teachers reflect. We know we want our students to reflect. Yes, that's what I thought, Yoni. I thought you were from the university. What are 3 benefits of SEL? And if you just want to put 1 in the chat, I'm thinking about 3 in my mind, but type 1 benefit you've learned today of SEL, or social emotional learning.
And I actually wrote in the chat there, while we're waiting for other people to get their comments in, I think that SEL actually makes better students, because when you teach someone to be aware of what they're thinking or feeling, then they can actually focus. I think then they can give a better portion of themselves to learning. So I think that's great.
I like it.
Okay, so once again, if you're joining us right now in the session, we are just typing in the chat, what are 3 benefits of SEL? Okay, and Lisa, can you just explain that abbreviation SEL one more time in case someone is joining us for...
Yeah, social emotional learning. Think about what we've talked about with the classroom environment. That might be a benefit. What does it help students with? Yes, a safe learning environment, Liliana, and supported. Exactly. That is totally a benefit of social emotional learning. And what did we see with the academic performance? Remember that little research Christina read? What did social emotional learning also do for students?
Yeah, I think that the statistic was an 11% increase in academic performance.
Yep, exactly.
Which is amazing.
Yeah. So not only do we see students feel positive and safe in the learning environment, we see academic growth. And we all know as teachers, that's part of what it's about too. It's not the only thing, but academic growth is a good thing. All right, we're going to move on because we want to have some fun today. I've done a lot of talking, and I like classroom to be fun and not just where you have to listen to me. So on your screen, if you look to, I have to look to the right, there's chat, polls, people, Q&A, and then there's session. All right, so if you're, make sure you're in the session tab, and then go ahead and click on the Kahoot. So you should be in session, which you are because you're chatting. And then you'll click on the Kahoot box or the Kahoot word. And if you can't play for some reason, your network's too slow or just you're having tech issues, because we know that's the real world, you can just listen or watch. You can answer in your mind. You can answer in the chat. But when I open Kahoot, you're going to go ahead and put the game pin right here. I'm going to give you a pin code. And then you're going to hit enter. And it will ask you for your name or a nickname. And then it will say you are in. All right. So without further ado, let's have some fun this Sunday morning. Are we good? Do you want me to re-show those slides? I'll do it one more time. So make sure you click Kahoot. You'll enter the pin, which you don't have yet. You'll have in a second. You'll enter, type your name or a nickname, and you will see this. All right, so let me pull up my Kahoot.
Okay.
And we're going to play.
I think we're ready for the pin, Lisa. If
okay,
you can give us the pin.
Let's see if my computer's not too slow.
Loading game pin. Okay, here we go. There it is. I can put that in the...
Perfect. If you'd put that in the chat.
37694. That's the game pin.
And again, that's 1737694. And Rachel is in. And that's what it will look like once you get in. You'll have your name appear. I got Marcella, Juan, Melissa. Woohoo, you guys are fast. You must be Kahoot experts. Fernando, you're on my screen. So is it working just a little slow? And Liliana, you're on my screen. Is it working for you?
Yeah, I use my middle name, Marcela.
Okay. Oh, you're Marcella. Okay, great. Oh, Juan, my students love Kahoot too. Like, can we play Kahoot, Miss? And I'm like, okay, I'll make a Kahoot review before the test. And then they're all happy. All right, due to time, I'm going to go ahead and start. If you're not in, it's okay. You can still participate because you'll be able to see the screen, but we need to get going so we can honor the time of the conference. All right, the first one is true or false. Social emotional learning provides a safe and positive environment. Blue is true, red is false. Go ahead and click. Ah, you guys are star students. Great job. Oh, who's on the top? Oh, Marcella was the quickest. Okay, here's the next question. What is empathy? About 5 seconds. Okay, good. Most of you got that right. I can listen to others and make an effort to understand how they feel. Great job. Ah, Marcella's holding the top spot. Juan, you got to catch her. You're right below there. So what is SEL? What does that acronym stand for? Great. You guys all got that one. Oh, Marcella's on fire, it's showing. She's muy rápido. What is emotion? Think about the definitions we went over. Which one of those is emotion? All right, Fernando, thank you for chatting in the chat since you didn't get in. Good idea. All right, and the correct answer is when I feel anger, I can try and understand it and adjust my thinking. That's an example of emotion. Oh, Marcella. Rachel and Juan have bumped you. Don't let them get back up there, Marcella. You can do it. The research showed an achievement in academic progress, of how much? Do you remember? It's a pretty detailed question. Red is 10, blue is 5, yellow is 11, green is 13. That I probably didn't give you enough time on that one. We didn't get as many answers. Okay, Juan's up there. Oh, we've got some bouncing back and forth. What is mindfulness? All right. Mindfulness is I can pay attention to my breath, my body, my thoughts, and the world around me. And let's see if there's a change on the, Juan's holding strong. Ladies, are you going to let Juan win? We only have a couple more. Or actually, this is the last one. What is determination? All right. Most of you got that one. It is the gold one. I understand it takes great effort, patience, and more to accomplish my goals. All right. Do you want me to click? Should I click? Should I click to see? I'm going to build the anticipation here. Yeah, Fernando, I love that little video. Rachel's in third. She made the podium. Marcella's second. Who's number one? Juan, you kept your position there and defeated him. Great job. All right, good job, you guys, on that Kahoot. So I want to just come back and start wrapping up a little bit here. Whoops, I added a slide. I didn't want to do that. We have one more poll question. I don't know if it's in there because Christina seems to be knocked out. So we'll just do a chat, yes or no, in the chat box instead because it's not there. I learned something I can use in my classroom with students today. Is there something you can take from here and use in your teaching? Yes or no? And I'm sorry it's not a poll. Oh, Christina just said the poll question was up. That's all right. We monitor and adjust as teachers. We adapt. So, okay, great. I'm glad there's something you can use. And as I said, this is a framework for you to take a copy of this presentation and delete things that aren't appropriate and keep things that are. And I wanted to share some resources I put in here for you. Let me put this in present mode. I found a few resources for you, and one is just a very short article on adaptable strategies for online as well as in person. So if you just want to focus on a couple of those key strategies that students need, this is a great article. How to teach students to manage their own conflicts is another article. And this one is a card game, so it's kind of fun for younger learners. And this one, I don't know if I'm going to get the video because the audio, but I think you'll love this one. As we talk about gratitude, this teacher does something really cool with his students. Let me know if you can hear it. So again, just a fun little video as a takeaway for you if you want to try something like that in your classroom, a way to build community, show that gratitude, teach students that it's okay to apologize and have those aha moments. I also told you there were some links, so I just want to show those real quick to you. So this is a handout of notes that follow the slides if you want to use them for your students. And then here's the other handout that's linked to the presentation. It's got the vocabulary words where they can translate them, practice the vocabulary with emojis, some ways to apply that, and then some bingo. So a few other resources for you that are linked into the presentation. All right, I think we're about out of time. I don't think Christina's back. If anyone has a quick question or two, I'm happy to take it, but we are, I think, out of time. Thank you for coming today and joining me. I really appreciate you taking time out of your Sunday to be here with me. I hope it was beneficial. Muchas gracias.
Excellent presentation, Lisa.
Thank
you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you. I hope you can use something from it.
Yeah, lots.
All right, you guys have a great day. Buen día, chicas y chicos.